So we have a very exciting panel after Alex Connolly, the co-founder and CTO of Immutable, spoke this morning and gave us a lot of context in terms of where we are in Web3 gaming and where Immutable is in its exciting journey. He's going to be moderating a panel here with some game makers. Alex?
Fantastic. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this afternoon. This is going to be another, hopefully, very exciting panel. I think for some reason we've labeled this the Immutable Panel featuring me, but in fact it's going to be me and a number of the best people building games in the Web3 space, and we're going to be talking about the next, the future of Web3 gaming. Right. So this is going to be a topic that you'll hear a lot of people, I'm sure, give opinions about over the course of this conference. Obviously, it was part of the focus of the talk that I gave this morning. What I'm hopeful we can do today is to actually talk to some of the people who are trying to build those games and some of those sort of Web3 native builders who are trying to cross the gap into mainstream, right? And hopefully we'll get their insights on exactly what it actually looks like to build the future of those games. Okay, so I think before we get into it, rather than me introducing everyone, we're going to go person by person and we're going to try and get them to introduce themselves. You want to kick off?
Yeah, hey everyone, excited to be here. I'm David Johansson. I'm the founder and CEO of MetaKing Studios, the creators of Block Lords. I've been in the NFT space since 2017 when I bought my first CryptoKitty and haven't really looked back since then.
What's up, everybody? My name is Grant Hasley. I'm the executive director of Wagyu Games. We are the makers of Undead Blocks. We are a kill-to-earn zombie shooter on the Ethereum and soon-to-be Immutable X network. Happy to be here and happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Hey guys, I'm Aaron from Oxia Origin. I'm one of the co-founders. We started last year with a successful sale of 3D avatars. We are creating a realistic shooter game with a PvE mode and a roguelite mode. And we are pushing towards a PvP mode Battle Royale. We are incubated by Ubisoft and we are based in Paris. As you can hear, happy to answer any questions.
Hey everybody, this is Shen-Kun from RCT and Delicium. I'm the president and co-founder of Delicium RCT. And Delicium is a AI-powered open world and with free-to-own universes. And you can have a try on our website at delicium.com. And you can have try even on like a launcher and a cloud version together. Yeah, thank you so much.
Hey everyone, my name is Sammy. I'm the CEO and founder of Cross the Ages. I come from the gaming industry, spending 11 years to produce video game. We are owner of many studios, and we created a 360 vision on the gaming. And super excited to be here with you. Thank you very much to be here.
Awesome, thank you very much, everyone. So, as you can see here, we have quite a strong diversity in terms of the genre of games that people are building, but everyone is about at a roughly similar stage, right? So they're in development for games that are using Web3 assets, but are intending to target mainstream audiences. Right? And so today, what I really want us to get us thinking about is what that actually is going to involve and what that's going to look like. So I think the way that we might try and tackle these questions is I'm going to actually throw the floor open to this team. I actually think we'll start with Grant. Right? So I think I would love to get your thoughts on, we talk about the future of Web3 games a lot. We talk about the next generation, right? What's wrong with the current generation of Web3 games, right? Like, what are we getting right and what are we getting wrong?
It's a great question. I think a lot of the Gen 1 Web3 games felt like decentralized yield farmers in a way. They weren't really engaging. There wasn't a lot of retention. And it's something that if you brought to a casual Web2 gamer, they're going to look at you and saying, why are you even bringing this to me? I'm going to go play Fortnite. I'm going to go play Call of Duty. I'm going to go play Overwatch, Halo, etc. And so really, from our perspective at Wagyu, what we're trying to do is not even talk about the blockchain tech. I mean, we are building on Immutable X, and the tech is great. It's carbon neutral. It's something that the world needs, and I think that Web3 gaming is exactly what NFTs should be epitomizing. But we don't want a Web2 gamer to come in and feel like they have to have an NFT to be successful. I think you're looking at a game like Call of Duty Zombies, which is what we get compared to a lot. They had 32 million daily active players at peak You know, that series, that franchise lasted 15 years and 32 maps. And from our perspective, that is the goal. That's when we're talking about mass adoption. We want 32 million people to actually own one of those NFTs. And so how do we do that? You make the games fun. And I think that's the question that all of my colleagues on this panel are trying to answer is, how do you bring in those players? How do you increase retention without sacrificing the gameplay, without sacrificing the gameplay loop? And really what we're trying to do is just disguise the fact that we are a Web3 game, launching more of a zombie shooter and then teaching you about the blockchain, because I think a lot of Web2 gamers are going to be open to this technology, but a lot of them are in a wait and see mode. There really isn't that that go-to-market game that has exploded. There's a lot of great games coming out, Undead Blocks being one of them, and it's exciting to be on that forefront, and I'm really just curious to see how it's going to develop.
Awesome. I mean, one thing you said there stood out to me, right? That comparison to, you know, Call of Duty Zombies and a more mainstream Web 2 game. Maybe Sammy, if you could speak to, as someone who's been involved for like a long period of time in the traditional games industry, like looking now at where Across the Ages is and just in general where the Web3 space is, where do you see the gaps compared to traditional games?
I really believe that people on the Web3 are not ready yet. We are living a transition. We don't have enough players on the Web3 as we have on the Web2. We're living something completely new, and we need to have the time to onboard people. I really believe that we need to create an hybrid project made for the Web 2 and scale, you know, for the Web 3, and allow the people step by step to understand how it's working, what is NFT and what is the utility of that. The main problem we have today with the beer market, it's people think that Web3 projects are scam, are Ponzi, and this is exactly what's happened. So you always have to give more and more, but this is not how you can attract more people. The problem is giving more and more created the Ponzi system and destroy all the economy of your project. So we need to find, you know, another way, a way sustainable for everyone to be able to be involved on the project and not looking only for the play to earn, but the play and earn, and like having a fun experience. And then, you know, just having something. And if you don't like to the people and don't tell them that they're going to be rich, and you just tell them they're going to have like a very nice experience, it can change a lot of things. This is what I believe.
Awesome, awesome. Maybe a question now for Aaron then, building off the top of that. I think we hear a lot from people sitting up on these panels, again, about that, hey, we need to make it easier so, you know, people from Web 2 backgrounds are able to onboard onto these games. But one thing that's been really challenging for the game studios that we've talked to, at least recently, is, hey, a lot of the target audience in terms of the people who are directly ready to engage with this sort of Web3 technology while it's still in that period that Sammy was describing, so when it's still in that state of immaturity, a lot of the customers are these Web3 customers who want things like play and earn, or who want things like, you know, land sales, or who want things like, you know, the Web3 type game mechanics, right? Maybe Aaron, like I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey, that like how have you sought to balance building for a Web3 audience, but also keeping an eye on the future?
Yeah, thanks. Actually, it's really interesting what you just said, Sammy, as well. I think the terms that we all try to use in different ways, starting from play to earn, then play and earn, and in general, some marketing terms to bring more people to the table and make sure that it's less sexy, but it's more usable. And I think the gaming industry as a whole has done the same thing, starting with pay-to-play in the beginning of the 80s with the arcade modes, etc. But I think the true version of what we're trying to do with big studios in general is to find not only a term, but something that actually works and that is not only a term, is something that you can actually own or use without knowing that it's an NFT, it's a blockchain, etc. So with those studios, we're trying to push forward a lot on having another term than NFT, just having like game own assets term, so that people actually own the asset that are buying on Valorant, Fortnite, or in our game without even knowing it. Because I think one of the problems we had in GameFi is it was too much FI, the finance term. And since it was introduced in 2020, it's great if we we desynchronize the finance from the game so that people come to play, they enjoy, and then there is a loyalty program we were talking about. Because when you have customers, you bring the loyalty program after that they're happy and that they want to come back. You don't bring the loyalty program first, saying, hey, come to this store, you're going to get more rewards. You come for the product first, and that's something we really try to do by having the play and own. I hate using all those and etc., but it's still the case of how do you make sure that people enjoy the benefits of what we are truly doing, thanks to Immutable, for example, and they actually own the asset that they like, and that when they stop playing a game, they have actually a lot of more value as a surprise than all the time they spent in the game. Myself, I was a big gamer, and when I stopped playing World of Warcraft, I had all those hours of game in the game, but they didn't bring me anything at the end. It would have been so great that it actually brings a lot of either rewards or maybe an asset that's usable in another game, so that I can have a better transition from World of Warcraft to, let's say, Undead Block. So from Oxia Origin to one of your game guys. And maybe there is something going on that could be interesting, but we are pushing towards bringing Web2 companies, because this is where the 32 million gamers are, and even more, to the Web3, thanks to a good gameplay and good systems to reward people.
Yeah, awesome. I love that focus on branding. I think maybe I'd love to hear about Delicium, like in terms of that story of marketing to Web3 customers and the terms that they want to be hearing versus the, like, how can we make this super accessible to people who don't know what you're talking about yet? How's that played out for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think Web3 gaming is not only about like producing some games. It's just like producing EVs, like producing electronic cars is not only like change the engines to like a laptop batteries. It's changing the whole like process, or restructure the whole process of producing a car and the experience. I agree with my two panelists' views that we should we should care about the gameplays, but also I would love to cover this part that technology can change the game production manufacturing process as well, just like AI. And Delicium, that we use a lot of AI technologies to enhance the experience in Delicium. But what I want to cover is previously we also provide AI solutions to traditional gaming companies, just like probably UK people are familiar with, like Leslie Benzies. We were talking to Leslie Benzies before, the leading producer of GTA series. And the traditional gaming industry is so established. It is a not a very old industry, but it is also very established. They can now really tolerate very young and very new technologies. But in Web3 game, we have so opportunities to try new technology, just like we are launching on Immutable X. It is new technology called blockchain-based technology, but also can try AI. Just like we launched an AI character called David Davis in our Discord. It is a separate AI character out of a game, and it is text-based, adventure game, and our community members can talk to David and know his background and know his plan for revenging the one who killed his parents from biotech companies. So and within 24 hours, our community members send messages over 20,000 messages to David. It is so interactive, and the interaction between our players and Dev is so vivid and so engaging. So I guess not only we can try different gameplays, but we also can adapt the new technologies. Another interesting case is that we also want to make the AIs have hold entities. But previously, if we provide AI solutions to the traditional game companies, AI characters only play rules like improve the efficiency of matchmaking. But we design a system that if you own a AI meta beings in Delicium, and the Delicium meta beings you own can play the game for you and earn the token for you, but only share 70% of the token with you and reserve the 30% of the token. And if AI owns some assets by themselves, what will happen? And what perspective that they will bring to the human civilization. That would be an interesting case as well. So what I want to say is, like building the Web3 game, it is not only simply adopting the blockchain technology, it is new chance, just like building EVs. It restructures the whole process of producing the car and the driving experience. So I think AI, blockchain, cloud, or whatever will be integrating into the Web3 industry, and finally, obviously, will bring the Web3 game to the mass adoption. That's my views. Thank you so much.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I think that we've covered off, like, you can see that, like, different views on the marketing of Web3 games in the future, or different views on the game design of Web3 games in the future. I think one thing that's really interesting, I'm not sure if the audience is getting, like, there's actually even pretty strong diversity of opinion on the panel about like exactly what some of these games will look like. Exactly how close will they be to like, hey, it's a seamless Web2 game experience, but you can trade your assets. Or hey, we've fundamentally revolutionized the game development process. Or like, where does it sit on that spectrum? I think that's a really interesting like thought experiment for us to take in, is like, where we believe there should probably radically change our actions, right? But obviously we've talked marketing, we've talked game design, we've talked onboarding. I think one thing that we should talk about, David, is obviously actually always as part of the process of building a game, there are questions of the infrastructure that you're using, or just the like, hey, how much effort is it to go and develop a game? What types of things did you need to like invent and create? I would love to hear about, I guess, the story of Blocklords, particularly with regard to the readiness of, like how hard or how easy is it to actually build a game that's of the quality that you want to build?
It's a very good question, and yeah, the answer is it's really hard, but it's also really rewarding. And having been working on Blocklords since 2018, when blockchain gaming was really not even a thing, the way it is now, really the first thing we struggled with was infrastructure, because when we thought it would be, okay, you just add NFTs, you just add tokenized incentives, and that's it. But really what it turns out to be is it's an entirely new user experience for the gamers. They have to figure out what a wallet is, they have to figure out what a token is, they have to figure out which chain they're on, if that matters. There's really so much that you're asking for from a regular user that it really removes. I mean, we would see with our user acquisition numbers, like the more we required for them on the blockchain side, the more we would lose them. So definitely that's where we spent the most of the last 4 years on, is increasing basically allowing users to be able to enter into the NFT space, to be able to enter into the token space, and most importantly, to be able to play the game with as little friction as possible. And I think that comes down to like, why does the user need an NFT, right? So that was a point that was brought up earlier, is like, what's the point of this? Is it a Picasso? Is the NFT a really valuable collectible that is one out of maybe 100, and that's going to increase in value the same way a Picasso does? Well, I think for gaming, that's not really the relevant use case. For us, it's really the NFT encapsulates your user experience, like you are the NFT. So in Blocklords, that's really why we focused in on the NFT hero concept. Your hero is your experience inside the game. You play the game, you start as a farmer, you grow your farm, you raise some pigs, you chop some wood, you pay taxes to your lord, and then as you grow, define your experience, grow your hero, get married, have kids, create new NFTs, you as a user feel, okay, this is me. This is the time I put into the game. This is the time I put into this NFT, and now if I want to, I can keep it forever, I can sell it to someone else, or I can use it in the game, which is, at the end of the day, that's what we want with these assets. We don't want people to just buy them, flip them, and then leave the game forever because another play-to-earn project is giving more returns, right? We want players to get these NFTs, we want them to stay in the game, we want them to play the games, and we want them to contribute to the games, whether it's their times, their skills, their feedback, or of course their money, right? Because we are making games, we want to make revenue. And I think those are all the things that we need to keep in mind as we build out the infrastructure. And this is why we love working with IMX, because last week with our initial Blocklords banner launch, we were able to let our users mint 120,000 NFTs for free, right? There was no gas involved, there was no money involved, except later on when the users started trading them, creating their own marketplace for it. But IMX enabled us to really give users the ability to mint their own NFTs that they now control and can use any way they want.
Awesome, awesome. By the way, I haven't paid all the panelists to like talk up Immutable at various points, but the check is in the mail. So maybe I think another like I think maybe an open question to the panel now at this point. I think there's like even talking like as we've gone down the line there and seen everyone's views, play to earn comes up a lot, right? Everyone's talking about it, and everyone seems to have slightly different opinions about it. Some people are like, okay, you know, it's Ponzonomics, it's not going to work, or we're sinking money in there. Some people have the view of like, okay, it's just a slightly altered model for user acquisition cost, right? Rather than paying for Facebook ads, we're sort of paying users in the games. Some people there would, Aaron, your point about loyalty programs, but loyalty programs not being as effective unless the users were using your product in the first place, so they had a product to be loyal to. I'm interested in just an open question to the panel, like how do we really see, if we look at the future of Web3 gaming, like what place is there for play-to-earn style mechanics in the future of Web3 gaming? Like what do we think happens?
If I could maybe jump in on that one while I'm in a talking mood. For us, it's really about how do we design our game taking into account that Web3 users have maybe different goals than the more traditional Web2 users that we all agree are the main targets. So for us at Blocklords, it's really about asymmetrical incentives. It's realizing different players want different things. Some players are only in it to flip the NFT. Okay, how do we design the game around that and make it benefit someone else who's maybe just playing for fun? And really, so for us, it's really about analyzing Web3 users, Web2 users, and then designing different game systems where these two types of users can actually complement each other.
I think you make a great point there. And of the 6 people on this panel, I'm probably the most bullish on play to earn up here. I think it is a necessity. I think you're seeing so many different Web 2 game developers just continue to purge and exploit their communities. You're looking at a game like Diablo that is very much pay to play, very much pay to feel successful. And I think there is, I don't have the exact answer for you guys, but I think there's a form of healthy capitalism that could come from generating revenue from a video game and then using a portion of it to recompensate your community that's really supporting you. I'll give you guys an example. So Undead Blocks, zombie shooter, we just did a $15,000 Halloween tournament. We did a giveaway. We had over 5,000 participants. That was sponsored by Immutable X, among others. And what we're seeing is so many people are coming into the game. They're saying, oh, this is awesome. I know where the money's coming from. This isn't Ponzi-nomics. We're generating outside revenue. And what you're also seeing is a group of 5,000 people right now that are either into crypto, either into NFTs, or at least open to both. That's a very unique people that you can market your product to. So from our perspective, we do see a future of it. I don't think that future is click to earn. We don't want people coming into the game saying, I can't wait to log on and earn my $2 today. I mean, that's not a game. That's just decentralized yield farming. So curious to hear the other opinions on the panel, but I think there definitely is a place for it in the future of Web3 gaming.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just be, eye on the clock. I only got a couple minutes left, and I think we've had like a view each way there. One common question that I think people get asked, or like one common theme that people sort of really emphasize when they're talking about the future of Web3 gaming is like we constantly hear about onboarding, right? We hear about like users coming in, having their first experience, trying to make that as smooth, as frictionless as possible, and producing the best possible experience, right? I would love to hear this group's thoughts on like, hey, where are we at today relative to where we could be, and where do we think we can be over the course of 2023?
Yeah, I can start with that one. I think actually it connects with the previous question in the fact that I believe the different type of play to earn, play and earn, play and own are going to be different game mode that's going to make a gamer choose that game over that game. Maybe some games are going to be able to do all of that, but it's difficult, and we have seen Axie Infinity doing so well in Ponzi-nomics and making people earn a lot of money while sacrificing a lot of realistic experience and everything. So I guess in the future, it's going to be really important to see the next generation of games taking over according to what the public mass is going to take. So one mode is going to rule over the rest, according to the countries as well. So I guess we have this decentralized universe in which so many countries are agreeing on what project is a blue chip, what game is going to be the next big game. But I think it's going to be fractionalized more and more according to the countries, according to the habits of each country in which they prefer play to earn mode, because it's actually a new way for them to earn money and let's just watch at the Axie Infinity numbers, and in terms of employment in developing countries, it's just crazy. And in other countries, we'll see more of a dystopian universe working, because maybe culturally it makes much more sense, and then the gameplay is going to be interesting. But yeah, I think it will continue to have new terms and new ways of doing, and we'll hope one is going to rule the rest, so that we can follow also how it's going to move forward.
I think we might actually have to pause there, because I think we've only got 20 seconds left, and we want to keep to time. All right, or 2 minutes. All right, you know what? We've got 2 more minutes. Like, let's keep it rolling.
Okay. So
1 minute each.
oh, what 1 minute?
We have 1 minute each.
Oh, yeah. One.
I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
It's a joke.
Okay. One thing I will only give. Yeah, am I allowed to speak?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to give a case that our tokenomics is so different from others, that so the definition of decentralization is so vague right now. So from our perspective, I'll give the rights to different guilds, the rights of building their tokenomics and incentive layers onto our game. So if you are a normal player, I don't believe that 51% of the game like vote for the change for the game, and I'm just accept it. Our solution is that we can fork the game easily. So we give the solution is that any guilds, any DAO, or any person, any players can easily build their tokenomics and issue token and issue NFTs based on our IP and our content. So it is kind of a case that restructure the relationships between the players, publishers, and the content providers. Probably something that bring you some new ideas. That's what I want to say. Mike, word speed is so speedy. Yeah.
Well done. We don't know exactly how the market will be evolved. The thing what we are sure is like this beer market is a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity because everything is clean now. So you have only like project building, and I really believe that the survivor of today will be the big winner of tomorrow. And this is for us, the time to test and to improve, our game, our skills. Since, we're working on the Web3, all of us discovering, a kind of problem that we never seen, I spent 11 years on the gaming industry, 11 years to produce video game. Never ever I was expected, to have this kind of problem, like coming step after step, like one by one. So it's completely new. And yeah, we are on the 5th floor. If you have any kind of question, I'd be super excited, to answer to all of this question. Thank you very much to give us this opportunity to explain you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think just to wrap up, I think there's like one thing I'm really pleased with about the way that today's panel's gone is you can see that there's so much agreement between different people on like some areas, right? Like people are sort of unified in wanting better onboarding experiences, right? In wanting like smoother game development experiences, in wanting better infrastructure and tooling, in wanting better branding of some of these concepts for users. But when you actually dive into the details, there's still, even like amongst this group, so much diversity of thought. I think that bodes really well for the space because it means, hey, we've got people betting on different avenues of attacking these problems, right? But also, I think it speaks to, hey, there's still so much like uncertainty and questions to be answered. And I think, if you're sitting in the room today thinking either you're building your own game or you're thinking of building something in the space, like certainly none of these problems are solved. So I would definitely very much encourage you to go out and tackle them head on. Thank you very much, and please give a round of applause to our panel. Just leave it on the seat.